So I'm going to show you how to start a conversation about congregational health on the back of a coffee shop napkin. So normally it'd be best to have this as sort of a whole congregation conversation, or perhaps with the leadership team. So you have multiple voices contributing to the discernment. But just by drawing a simple bell curve, because all the world can be explained by a bell curve, you can start to have a conversation about, in general, how congregational life cycles run, and then specifically about where are we at. So any church you've ever experienced starts with a dream. Someone has the idea that God would desire to have a congregation to serve in a particular community. And where that dream becomes a church plant is when a group of people make the commitment to start this new thing and see it actually happen. So that may involve conversations with divisional headquarters, with supporting congregations, with territorial headquarters, a large circle of people who can offer some support, some encouragement and prayer for this new project. The core group that's involved in starting this thing has certain questions that arise to the surface as they begin to ponder, how planting the seed of the gospel into a specific community can be nurtured, and they can see what develops and flourishes. Key questions like, what will this thing look like? How will it develop? What are we going to do? Rise to the surface quite quickly. A lot of energy, a lot of excitement, and those conversations about vision, purpose, values end up being pivotal for the development and need to be articulated so people are actually thinking about what is it we're going to do. When people start doing things, they enter into the formation stage. And there the good ideas get tested in the world of real life. And some things fall by the wayside. There may be a decision that a certain element of worship didn't really work, or that some way of trying to connect with the community didn't really generate any kind of response. Other things actually do create an impact, and you see glimmers of God's transformation in the midst of doing something with the neighbors, of providing some kind of event, providing a space where people can do some reflection and connection with God. And those kinds of activities can lead to the stability stage where things are going really well, and you develop infrastructure and administration to provide the sustainability, to allow things to continue, to allow the thriving mission to have an undergirding that makes this stage stretch out for some time. Now, that can go on for quite a while until something significant changes. Maybe there's an interior conflict among people having different opinions. Maybe there's just a shift in vision with new people joining the formation stage who weren't involved in the pivotal conversations in the planting and formation stage. Maybe the community has changed and no one's really noticed. And you can slide into a maintenance mode. And in maintenance, you can actually start to try to keep what worked so well in the past going, primarily by trying to work harder or do it better or make slight changes that you don't realize aren't actually addressing the underlying shift that's occurred. If no one catches this, you can end up sliding into a crisis mode where it becomes painfully obvious that something is not working. And so in a crisis, people realize, people are leaving, new people aren't coming. That there's financial problems. It's difficult to get volunteers to join in because people aren't as excited as they used to be. And if no one sort of tries to address what that means for the congregation, you can end up moving towards closure. Now, we're people of the resurrection. We don't think that a core that slides along the life cycle necessarily needs to go into closure, but believe that there can be renewal. And so at the stability phase, you have the opportunity to do some reevaluation, to try some new things, and keep in sort of that formation type mode. At the maintenance stage, you can ask some of the key questions that were important at the formation and planning stage. Ask, who are we? What has God called us to be? Who is our neighbor? And what does that mean? And return back into formation. At the crisis stage, there needs to be some very careful, prayerful reflection, inviting God to speak, being able to listen to each other, being able to listen to your community, and try some small experiments that can begin to work you back into a formation way of being as a congregation. Now, if you would like more information about the congregational life cycle and how to do an assessment of your congregation, you can go to saministryresources.ca/lifecycle, and there's a small booklet there that'll help you figure things out.